Imagine waking up under the blazing sun of the African savanna, completely naked, alone, and disoriented. No shelter, no fire, no tools, just your modern-day brain dropped into a world that doesn't care who you are. There's no Wi-Fi, no food delivery, and no help coming. Everything around you is either indifferent to your existence or eager to end it. We like to think we'd thrive in the wild. Romanticized documentaries and survival shows have convinced us we'd be clever and resourceful, living like ancient hunter-gatherers with nothing but instinct and grit. But the Paleolithic world wasn't a campsite or a weekend retreat, it was a death trap. The Human Origins program from the Aldrin Institute of Anthropology confirms that early humans endured a life of endless risk. Disease, injury, and predators lurked in every direction. According to recent findings from 2024, just surviving each hour required intelligence, coordination, and skills that modern people have long forgotten. Your biggest threat in the first hour wouldn't be hunger or thirst, it would be staying alive long enough to even worry about those things. Predators ruled the land. The extinct Pachycuta leonidae, a massive short-faced hyena, was larger than today's lions and had jaws strong enough to crush a human skull in a single bite. Its distant cousin, the striped hyena, still roams parts of Africa and Asia and has been known to attack people. Every sound behind a bush, every shifting shadow might be a warning that you're prey. Here's the harsh part. Your own body and senses are part of the problem. Dr. Maya Callan, a survival anthropologist from Greystone University, explains that most modern people lack even basic threat detection instincts. In ancient times, children learned to track animals from birth. They developed an intuitive sense of movement, smell, posture, and subtle sound changes. You're scanning the horizon, trying to decide whether that shape in the grass is a log or a lion. Meanwhile, a Paleolithic forager like Darrow, a fictional counterpart to our earliest human cousins, would have already detected the scent in the air, calculated the wind direction, and begun retreating quietly without drawing attention. Your survival depends on learning faster than you've ever learned before. Not from books, not from videos, from the edge of fear. If you can't adapt instantly, the Stone Age will swallow you whole before your second hour even begins. As the sun climbs higher, your skin burns under the relentless heat. By dusk, that same open sky turns bitterly cold. Shelter isn't a convenience, it's a lifeline. But you're not in a world with tents or cabins. There's no map, no compass, and no instructions. Excavations led by Dr. Caleb Nanga of the Nairobi Institute of Prehistory reveal how early foragers like the clan of Omu built their survival around the land itself. They huddled beneath overhanging cliffs, tucked themselves into dry caves, and shaped the bones of giant creatures into windbreaks and roofs. In colder climates, they even stacked ice and used mammoth tusks to form crude frames. These weren't accidents. They were strategies passed down through generations, shaped by trial and tragedy. You, however, have none of that wisdom. You're just a modern human in a hostile environment, trying to reinvent survival architecture with zero experience. No tools, no animal hides, not even a sharpened rock. And while your hands fumble through thorny branches and unfamiliar plants, your body is losing warmth fast. Ancient clothing was no joke. The frozen remains of Tassi, the mountain traveler found in alpine Europe, show that even 5,000 years ago, people crafted coats from layered goat hides, leggings from stitched deer leather, and grass-woven shoes insulated with bark and fur. These weren't caveman costumes. They were functional armor against the elements. And here's the cruel irony. Even if you found animal skin or bark, you wouldn't know how to tan, soften, or weave it. You'd be trying to create what took thousands of years of inherited knowledge, all while shivering in the dark. Then there's fire. You've seen it in movies. Rub two sticks together and watch the magic happen. But the reality is far more punishing. Dr. Ria Solano from the University of Cascadia explains that early humans like the Marek clan in northern Kenya didn't just make fire, they engineered it. They selected the right wood, shaped precise drills, prepared dry tinder, and practiced until it worked under any conditions. You're sitting in the dust, rubbing wood while the wind steals your heat and hyenas howl in the distance. Without fire, you have no warmth, no protection, no cooked food, and no light. You are just a silhouette in the dark, waiting to be hunted. Primitive skills experts today, people who dedicate their lives to recreating ancient techniques, often fail for hours in perfect conditions. You're not in a controlled setting. You're cold, scared, unarmed, and surrounded by predators. And every second the fire doesn't catch, your chances of survival drop even lower. By now, the hunger is clawing at your gut. Instinct tells you to find food, but that's where your nightmare really begins. You might think hunting would be your next logical move. Grab a stick, chase down a rabbit, maybe throw a rock at a bird. But Stone Age survival wasn't built on brute force. It was built on patience, precision, and ancient knowledge that you don't have. Forget the movie scenes of hairy men throwing spears at mammoths. Real Paleolithic hunters like the Teremu band in ancient Eurasia used fire strategically. Fossil records from the Lion Valley show that every fall and spring, they built fires to guide herds of reindeer and wild horses into narrow corridors. There, they would trap and kill the animals with maximum efficiency and minimum risk. These were orchestrated harvests, not desperate chases. It was planned, repeated, and perfected over thousands of years. You wouldn't even get close. No tracking, skills, no camouflage, no understanding of migration patterns. Even if you spotted a herd, the animals would hear you stomping long before you saw them. And even if, by some miracle, you managed to bring something down, could you skin it, bleed it, gut it without contaminating the meat, cook it without tools or fire? Every step from kill to meal was a ritual built on deep survival knowledge. But let's say you give up hunting. You turn to foraging. Plants, berries, roots. Sounds easy. It's not. According to a 2016 ecological study led by Professor Ayana Lefebvre in Israel, early humans like the Nomu tribes regularly consumed over 50 different plant species. But every one of them was identified over generations, through storytelling, trial, and error. The error often meant death. One of the most deadly mistakes? The jiku tree, native to equatorial regions. Its seeds resemble edible legumes, round, shiny, and inviting. But inside is abrin, a toxin far more potent than cyanide. Just 1 or 2 seeds, and your internal organs begin to fail. There's no hospital, no stomach pump, just hours of agony under a tree, alone. In this world, food is either hiding from you or waiting to kill you. Every leaf you chew, every root you dig, every fruit you pluck is a gamble, and you're not holding the cards. The Paleolithic world didn't tolerate ignorance. It didn't care how determined you were. It only responded to those who learned, adapted, and remembered. But you have no ancestral memory to guide you. You're starving in a world where one wrong bite means your first meal could be your last. Let's say you survive the predators. You manage to hide before nightfall. You resist eating the wrong plant. But now, the true enemies begin their silent assault. The ones you can't see, smell, or hear. Bacteria, parasites, viruses. They were here long before you, and they've perfected the art of killing slowly. Genetic research from Dr. Naomi Elgin at the Carthos Institute suggests that human-specific infectious diseases didn't begin with agriculture. They were already haunting Paleolithic tribes like the Alonu, people tens of thousands of years ago. DNA extracted from the teeth of 32,000-year-old human remains showed traces of blood-borne pathogens, proof that sickness was part of everyday life long before villages and farms. Your immune system is a modern masterpiece, adapted to filtered air, clean water, sanitized environments, and vaccines. But out here, it's worthless. Cuts get infected. Scratches become septic. Mosquitoes aren't just annoying, they're deadly. A single sting could inject malaria, yellow fever, or something. Prehistoric your body's never seen. And the water? You're thirsty, desperate even. You stumble on a stream, drop to your knees, and drink. But this isn't spring water from a bottle. It's a microbial cocktail. Paleolithic survivors like the Sevu band knew how to test, filter, and locate. Safe sources by reading the land, animal behavior, and even the insects buzzing around a puddle. You don't. You drink, and with it, you swallow colonies of parasites that will eat you from the inside out. Studies by Dr. Idris Vaughn at the University of Cape Verde show that ancient parasites, especially helminths like whipworms and hookworms, not only ravaged human bodies but actively shaped our immune systems. Your ancestors' bodies adapted by developing layered defenses. Yours hasn't. Even if you survive the day, your gut may be under siege by night. No wound is too small. No drink is truly safe. No breath is guaranteed free from spores, eggs, or invisible invaders. In the Stone Age, dying from infection wasn't bad luck. It was a daily risk. Out here, it's not just about lions and leopards. The real killers are already inside you, and your body is losing the fight before it even knows what hit it. You've survived the predators. You found shade. You drank, even if it was risky. And now you're sitting alone beneath a gnarled tree, wondering if you'll make it through the night. The answer? Not without others. In the Paleolithic world, strength didn't come from muscles. It came from people. From unity, from trust. Archaeological research from the Drava Henson Institute reveals that human survival during the Ice Age wasn't driven by lone wolves, but by tightly bound micro-societies. Bands of 15 to 25 members, like the ancient Kuro group of Western Eurasia. Each person had a role. Some tracked animals, others gathered plants. Elders passed down seasonal knowledge. Even children learned by watching, listening, imitating. You don't need brute force. You need a clan. And they'd need to accept you, a clueless outsider who doesn't know the land, the rules, or even the unspoken cues of body language that signal trust or danger. Anthropologist Dr. Elijah Morell explains that cooperation wasn't just helpful. It was an evolved survival strategy. These early societies developed communication beyond words. Symbols on cave walls, rhythm-based storytelling, chants passed down over generations. The famous cave paintings of Valtara weren't just art. They were survival manuals. One bison's winter coat told you when the herd passed through. A set of dots could warn of a river that floods, if you could understand it. Your brain is capable. Neurologically, you're the same species as those survivors. But cognitively, culturally, you're a baby with a smartphone memory trying to learn. Survival from scratch. Yes, you might have better nutrition, dental care, and height, but they had something you don't. Discipline forged by necessity, awareness honed by daily danger, eyes that could read a storm from a shift in birdsong, ears that heard the silence before a predator struck. Modern life traded those senses for comfort. You can navigate cities, analyze data, swipe right. But you can't smell a predator downwind or taste the difference between safe routes and toxic ones. According to Dr. Mireille Kazadi of the Darwinian Cognition Lab, modern humans would survive a Paleolithic environment only if two things happened fast. They joined an existing band and adapted like their lives depended on it, because they would. You're not weak, you're untrained, you're not unintelligent, you're unequipped, and your only shot is humility. Listen, observe, earn trust, and learn quickly. Because out here, survival isn't an individual accomplishment. It's a collective legacy, and that's the beauty of it. The real reason you wouldn't last 24 hours isn't because you're incapable. It's because you've been raised in a world built on the bones of those who already paid the price. Your comforts were earned by others' suffering. Their survival bought your safety, so no, you probably wouldn't make it through your first Stone Age night. But that's not a failure. It's a reminder. You come from a lineage of fighters, builders, wanderers, and risk-takers. They didn't just survive. They innovated, created, and conquered the world with nothing but their hands and their minds. You are the legacy of 100,000 years of improbable victories. Honor it.